Mark Zuckerberg has recently been going through a midlife crisis, but from all the weird and sometimes hilarious things he's been doing, the most interesting decision he's made by far was appointing Dana White, the CEO of UFC, to the board of directors at Meta. This decision was filled with mixed reactions, until it wasn't. Some people were surprised by this decision, but even more didn't care. However, here's the thing, it's not that surprising. So for that reason, we're diving deep into the secret society of corporate boardrooms, and we're going to find out just who are these people, what the hell do they even do, and why does it seem like they're getting paid millions to show up for a meeting only once a quarter? But before that, please like and subscribe. Now to begin this breakdown, let's start with the news that's got everyone talking. Mark Zuckerberg's just appointed Dana White to Meta's board of directors. Now why is this even a thing? In the corporate world, a board appointment isn't about running day-to-day operations at a company. It's like being invited to an exclusive club where the members are part-time, high society advisors with deep pockets and even deeper connections. Boards are meant to oversee the company's long-term strategy and ensure that the CEO doesn't just chase short-term profits and make as much money as possible, and if things go south, they can vote to fire the CEO. The board can really only do two things. They can advise the CEO on company strategies and fire him. The CEO doesn't necessarily have to listen to the board of directors, however they do their best to keep the board happy, because otherwise they can be fired and lose their high paychecks. Some people say this announcement is not just a PR stunt, and they said it signals that Meta wants to leverage Dana White's managing style and maybe even bring a bit of that fighter mentality to boardroom battles. Let's explore these boardroom battles and see what actually happens and find out why you should care even if you're not a billionaire. Let's start with meetings and presentations. Typically, board members aren't clocking 40 hours a week. They show up once a quarter or sometimes monthly for a deep dive presentation, usually led by the CEO and any other high-ranking company officer for the topic of discussion. This can be the CFO for financial related presentations or any other C-suite executive that the CEO brings along. The presentations are often seen as a corporate status report which goes into how the company is doing, what are the risks, what's next, and all that good stuff. Next, let's talk about the advisory role and veto power that the board can use. Their main job is to advise. They can agree or disagree on major decisions. Like I said, while the CEO might ignore the advice, the board has the power to fire them, so more often than not, the CEO tries to please the board as much as possible. Now, I don't know any CEOs directly, so things might be different. This is what Google told me. Next, let's look at how the board oversees executive compensation. Boards decide how much the big guys get paid. CEOs often chase the highest bonus possible, but if the board isn't on board, yes, pun intended, then things can get messy. Finally, let's look at the network and influence of board members. Many board members are seasoned veterans with decades of experience, but their value isn't just advice, it's also about the network they bring. For example, company filings for Meta in 2023 show board members earning anywhere from $300,000 to over $4 million annually in equity, cash, and perks. Essentially, if you can get your hands on a board seat, you're in a pretty sweet position where you do minimal actual work and just say, I agree to everything you hear. But here's the thing, getting the position is where the problem starts, which leads me to the breakdown of what kind of people actually sit in these exclusive boardrooms and why are they there. First, we have the old guards. Picture a group of seasoned pros, former CEOs, retired government officials, and industry giants that you may or may not have heard of. They bring decades of experience, and their average age is around 63. They've seen trends come and go and know the secret handshake for getting things done. They often sit on boards because they have pretty nice experience that will guide company leadership in a specific direction. Next, we have the networkers. Many board members are not just experts, they're connectors. They're the ones who can introduce you to the right people in government, finance, or industry. If you're looking to get ahead, these are the folks with the insider scoop. If you caught that, you didn't hear it from me. Third, we have the snarky outsiders. Occasionally, a board will invite someone like Dana White to shake things up. These outsiders can offer fresh perspectives, but may also be more unpredictable. Sometimes it's done because they really show promise to hold the position. Most times it's just a PR stunt to direct public attention elsewhere. You see, Meta has been in some hot waters in recent years as usual, and with the new strict administration, Mark Zuckerberg now has a friendly connection to the White House through Dana White. Lastly, we have the multiple board memberships. Some high flyers sit on several boards. Take, for instance, someone who might earn a cool 6 or 7 figures from just a handful of meetings. These people usually hoard multiple board seats at top companies and absolutely take the pay. That's why some asset managers, like Vanguard and BlackRock, impose limits on how many boards a person can join. Right now, that maximum number sits at 4. It's all about keeping the quality in check and avoiding conflicts of interest. But that's ironic because oftentimes the only people who can even get in multiple board seats are put there by BlackRock BlackRock and Vanguard themselves. So, are you curious about getting that cushy board seat and putting it on your LinkedIn profile? Well, here's the scoop on how you can get it. The most sure way to get a position is to start your own company and, of course, appoint yourself. Not very democratic, but hey, it works on paper. This is the easiest way for you and me to get a board seat. Next is to be an early stage investor or co-founder. If you're an early investor in a startup, you can often negotiate a board seat as part of your deal. Venture capitalists love these because they give you a say in the company's direction, and hey, you might even get a fat exit on your initial investment someday. Next is by networking. Yup, this guy again. In many cases, board seats are all about who you know. Building a powerful network over decades in an industry or government can land you an invite to the boardroom club. Remember, these positions aren't full-time gigs. They're about influence, prestige, and a cool LinkedIn title. If you don't have a lot of friends like me, then go check out the other methods and subscribe so we can be friends. So now let's look at the trade-offs. It might sound like a sweet deal, minimal work, high pay, and all the clout. But there's a catch. You need to constantly be in the loop, attend those quarterly meetings, and ensure that you're actually adding value. And if you screw up, not only can you lose your seat, but your reputation and that prestige can take a hit. So if you're planning to get on a board, start by building genuine expertise and a network that stands up to the test of time. Now, why should we care about these board members and their meetings? Well, that's simple. It's because they shape the future of major companies. Boards are supposed to be the guardians of shareholder value. They ensure that CEOs aren't just chasing flashy short-term numbers at the expense of long-term stability. Think of them as the checks and balances on corporate power. They also handle the compensation packages for the big boys. When boards set the compensation for executives, they influence the priorities of the company. High bonuses might encourage risk-taking, while conservative pay packages might promote steady growth. They also lead strategic decisions. Big moves like mergers, acquisitions, or large investments often require board approval. These decisions can make or break a company. In a way, board meetings are where the future of an industry is decided. Remember when Meta's board had to consider a potential $46 billion augmented reality project, and everybody was hyped up about the metaverse and Sword Art Online? That's the kind of decision that can send ripple across industries and change the tech landscapes. That decision forced many companies to focus more on augmented reality for about 2 years before the AI hype replaced it. Boards have the power to support bold innovation or slam stupid ideas. So, what's the verdict on this high-paying side hustle? The pros include the influence and networking. You meet people and they're very powerful, or not. The financial rewards. Since you're on the board, you don't pay yourself with your own money, but you do have a lot of stock options and control over what happens to them. And lastly, strategic impact. You get to decide what happens at a company or even in a whole industry. And I don't know if this is insider trading or not, because you have to know this information. Argue about it in the comments to boost my engagement, please. Now, let's look at the cons. To start off, there is a distinct lack of accountability because you might work hard and do everything you can to help the company, but what about this guy? Who's gonna fire him since he's friends with the chairman? Oh yeah, the chairman or chairwoman is the leader of the board. They're like the referee who supervises the board and makes sure everyone is behaving and doing their work. Now let's go back to the cons. The next downside is that board of directors are often old boys clubs. It's filled with old people who just don't want to retire already. And lastly, conflict of interest. This is self-explanatory. The big picture here is that in today's corporate landscape, boards aren't just about governance. They're about credibility, influence, and sometimes even political power. They are also usually the voice of investors, but obviously not you and me who own 2 stocks in Apple. They want to please BlackRock and Vanguard despite what they tell you. With companies under increasing scrutiny, having a board that genuinely challenges the status quo can be a game changer. But if the board is just a club for the well-connected, then shareholders might be left with decisions that favor short-term gains over long-term health, which is called a rug pull in the crypto world. So, what's the takeaway? A board of directors might sound like a cushy position with minimal meetings, hefty paychecks, and all the networking perks. But in reality, these boards play a crucial role in ensuring that companies run responsibly and sustainably. They can make or break a CEO's career, shape strategic decisions, and even influence entire industries. Whether you're a budding entrepreneur or just curious about where the real power lies, understanding board dynamics is key to understanding the corporate world. I don't know what I just said, but if you'd love to see more deep dives into how the upper echelons of business operates, drop a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe subscribe to join the conversation. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the boardroom. Let me know if you'd like to see a video on the guys with the C's in their titles or the C-suite. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I was told to, or else. I am not a financial or investment advisor, and all financial decisions must be researched by you, and consulting with an expert is always highly recommended before taking action. Take it easy, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.